My name is Adrian, and this is a narrative. This is a podcast meant for those who know that they're meant for more. The dreamers, the builders, and the ones fighting battles in silence that are chasing after something bigger. I'm not here to avoid tough conversations. I'm here to bring you along my journey, and in doing that, I want to remind you that you're all capable. Capable of rewriting the stories that we've all been told, capable of smashing through those internal walls that are stunting your evolution, and capable of proving that unrealistic dreams are only unrealistic to those who don't take action. Welcome to the narrative. So, welcome to my podcast. Um, it's kind of crazy that we're here now, just because this wasn't even on my radar until like a month and a half ago. No lie. Like, it's crazy. Just to give you guys some backstory on how this even started in general. Um, I started running my own business and my own online marketing business. And I started getting my first couple clients. I started getting some sales. And I was at this point because I actually got offered to be a salesman for another online marketing company that's already has all the fulfillment and all of the processes down and are already providing a lot of good results for clients. So I could take the route where I could just become a salesman and make money and keep all of my profit without having to reinvest into my business, or I could just really go all into my business and take that as far as it can go. So I thought for a bit and I'm like, I started to realize I'm like, everything that I've done for the last couple of years, probably even my whole life, it's been making moves to put myself in a better situation. Never have I really put a lot of time into something where I was genuinely passionate about it. And I'm talking like career wise or just like something for myself. Like I haven't like worked doing something that I'm passionate about. So I started thinking, I'm like, okay, well, if I take a step back from the business, what would I actually want to do? And I thought, well, one of the things I feel like I'm the best at, or one of my biggest strengths, is delivering a message. And I feel like I can communicate pretty efficiently. And I feel like one of my biggest passions is self improvement and self growth. And if if any of you guys know me, like I just can talk your ear off about growing in different aspects of your life, whether it be entrepreneurially or whether it be spiritually, emotionally. Like I will rant your ear off about it. So I thought about the idea of starting a podcast. If I were to just like take a step back from my business and just really do something else. Well, because I knew I wanted to start a personal brand and really, maybe branch that off into something else where I can start my business again in the future, more calculated. But I thought about starting a podcast. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense to me, because I'd be able to build a platform doing something that I'm passionate about, which is just talking about different ways to grow and improve, and just talking about my journey in general. And the more I thought about it, the more I liked the idea, because I just like the idea of spreading the value that I've been able to gain through all of my experiences, through all of the network of people through all of the network of people that I've met. And I want to share that with everybody else. I want to make sure that all of the value that I'm getting, all of the value that is being instilled, I want to share that with as much people as possible. And here we are. We're in the first episode of my podcast, The Narrative. So it's a good feeling. And honestly, just saying these words, recording myself, like I'm excited to just see what's happening or what's going to happen next and go forward. But anyways, all that is out of the way. That's a little bit of introduction into who I am, why I started the podcast. I actually wanted my first episode to be about breaking through limiting beliefs and shifting your internal narrative. And what I mean by that is that so many people are complacent at the rate that they're progressing, not knowing that if they just shifted their perspective and applied themselves a little differently, then they could be so much closer at achieving their dreams. I remember I was having a conversation with my little brother. For context, this was in November of 2024. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. He lives in New Jersey. I live in Rhode Island. And I was asking him about his goals. What vision did he really have for the future? If there's anything that he really wants to chase after. And in that conversation, I was telling him, I'm like, yo, you gotta realize that there's so much more to life than really what our parents laid out for us. You know, as children to immigrant parents, our parents really want us to go to school. They really want us to get a nice job to really be stable and to really be stable and have a strong foundation with. But there's so much more to life to that. There's so much bigger goals that you can really chase after. Like, you know, if you wanted to really be the one in the family to really retire both of your parents by age 30 and still have enough wealth to really go live your life and have fun and travel the world, you can make that happen. You just have to really find the right opportunity vehicle to really get you there. And the thing is that we're never going to think that way until we realize that it's really possible. We're never going to think that way until we're really conscious of these internal limiting beliefs we have. We're never going to think that way until we actually really put in the work to actually change the way that our belief system is structured so that we can actually take the action steps necessary to really chase our wildest dreams. You know, if you're a young 16-year-old and you really want a BMW M4 in a couple of years, you can make that happen. Like, it's crazy. Like, as of late, like, you know, I've literally met 19-year-olds that are making 6-figure months with their online business. Now, just bringing it back a little bit, I actually want to share a little bit about my story and how I even got into this way of thinking at all. So I remember I had a trip to New York at the beginning of 2024. 2024 actually being a super transformative year for me, by the way. So in this trip to New York, I actually met up with some of my friends from high school. And these guys are really entrepreneurial and we're just catching up. And they put me onto some information. They said, hey, there are steps that could be taken where you can really form your LLC and get approved for really business funding that you can use to really invest into whatever you want to invest in, whether it be trading, investing, real estate. If you want to start a business, you could really get access to $50,000 to $150,000 like that. So really, I started thinking about really my opportunity vehicle and what I wanted to do to really get myself out of the situation that I was in and really put myself into a better situation. So what I did is I ended up taking the necessary steps and I got approved for some funding. And my plan at the time was to really go all into Forex trading. That's my thing. For those of you guys that know me, I've been trading for a couple years. So from there, that's actually when a lot of my limiting beliefs started to be shattered. You're telling me that I don't have to work for 2 more years at a job that I hate to really scrape by and save enough money to invest into my trading and put myself into a better situation? You're telling me that in a span of a couple of months, I can actually take money that the bank gives me and invest into whatever I want, whether that be a real estate property, whether that be an Airbnb business, whether that be whatever type of business you want to invest into. You get the idea. So from there, I actually did end up taking some of the leverage and investing into trading. I made some mistakes. I'll just leave it there. But I also took that leverage and I also invested into mentorship, really someone to really help me start my own online business in the social media marketing agency space. And the very first step in really doing that, what my mentor had me do, he had me write down my major definite purpose. And it's really something that you really want. It could be your wildest dream. It doesn't really matter how unrealistic it is. For me, I thought about it for a bit and I'm like, well, I would love to retire my parents. That would mean the world to me. And really, now from there, what I had to do is really map out how much money it would take to get there and how long I wanted to be there in. Right? So preferably, I'd love to do this, before I turn 30, within the next couple of years. And I started thinking, I'm like, well, how much money would it cost to buy a house for my mom? The average house at the time in Rhode Island was like $430,000, right? And at the time as well, I was working my full-time job. I was making around $23, $24 an hour. I was making like $52,000 a year, $55,000 a year. Even if I saved every single penny that I had with that job over the course of, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, I wouldn't have even been close to really not only retiring one of my parents, but both of them, and still being able to enjoy my life after the fact that I have enough money left over. So I really started writing down, I'm like, well, how much money would I need to be making in order to be able to make this happen? And I wrote down $20,000 a month. I did the math. It still didn't add up. I wrote down $50,000 a month. I'm like, okay, with at this rate, I would actually be a lot closer to getting to my goals than $83,000 a month. That's what you need to be making to be a millionaire, by the way, to be making $1 million a year. And really, I just started shifting my perspective to really chase after bigger goals so that I can actually get to or get to achieve or live my dreams and make them become a reality. So then I really love the fact that he had me do that, because really in starting my business, I could really think, all right, how am I going to scale this business to really get to that level, to really be the opportunity vehicle that allows me to get to where I want to be. So yeah, that was the start of my social media marketing agency. And to give listeners some context into what exactly I was doing, I was helping other businesses get clients through the means of advertising for them using online paid ads. And it's probably one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do in general. And the reason that is because I was not only learning how to market myself and get my offer in front of people, but I also had to sell my offer to these people as well. I was literally pouring money into my ads and getting leads through my own paid advertisements and calling these guys up, trying to get them into booked sales calls. I probably spoke to over 60 people that I booked into sales calls in the first month and a half, and I didn't sell not one single person to buy my product. Eventually, I was able to get one client, and that one client turned to 4, and that turned into 8. And from there, what I actually did to myself, or told myself, I was working my full-time job at the time. I said, I need to take at least a week off, and I need to go full time into this and see what happens. See if I'm able to make something work out of this. So I did exactly just that. I ended up finding an excuse to get a week off of my job, and within that week, I probably made just over $6,000 in cash collected through my marketing agency. And that was enough proof in the pudding for me to quit my job. I left it. That same job that's kept me afloat for 2 years, kept me stable with a strong foundation, I left because that job stopped serving me. That job was contributing to limiting beliefs I had in myself. That job was holding me back from chasing after something greater. So I left. And really, what I want to do in really hammering home that point is to say that there are so many different ways to really make it in this world. And I just knew that I couldn't let the fear of what if this doesn't work out stop me. Now I'm getting to that point where I'm making that jump and I quit my job. I actually had to break through a ton of my own personal limiting beliefs. I had to realize that the longer that I played it safe and the longer that I stayed in my comfort zone, then the longer it would take for me to actually live my dreams. And I say all of that to say that my comfort zone was holding me back. And I share my story in hopes that I get to inspire you to jump into whatever passion that you have. That way, in your journey of actually getting to where you want to be, you're actually able to be engaged and you're not doing it in a way that sucks the life out of you. So I've been consuming a ton of Alex Hormozy content as of late. And something that I picked up from him is that if your goal is to make money, doesn't matter what your passion is, you can really take that and go to the moon with it. You can really get a $10 million business around baking cookies, around making art, around making music, whatever it is. you can really use that passion and really make something out of it. And I've had the pleasure of connecting with young entrepreneurs that are also doing it for themselves, making $10,000 to $14,000 a month tinting windows, making six figures in a single month doing online marketing for other businesses, making your first $1 million year with your credit repair and business funding business. All of this to say that you can do it too. Doesn't matter what your niche is, you can really take that energy and apply it to yourself. It's gotten to the point where I hear people talk about their multi-million dollar goals and it sounds normal to me now. Because that's the type of direction that I want to head into too. I've normalized it. The biggest thing I wanted to emphasize in this episode is that limiting beliefs are fake. The person that is holding you back the most from living your dreams is yourself. You avoiding discomfort is the reason why you're not seeing growth. And that concludes the first episode of The Narrative. If you made it to the end, I really thank you for watching this far. I hope that you were able to take something of value from this episode, and I hope you're able to enjoy it as well. My goal with this podcast is really to just share my journey and all of the insight and value that I've been gaining throughout the way and just share that with you guys. I also plan on having some guests eventually that are also able to do the same thing and share their journey as well. If you have any takeaways from the podcast, please leave a comment down below. If you have a question for me, please leave a comment down below. I'll be going in a couple episodes. I'll be going and choosing different comments to respond to. So I look forward to really seeing what you guys have to say.